the hero,
the hometown kid from Chicago.
Annual sports releases might get a lot of flack for incremental upgrades, but 2K and Visual Concepts are making real noise with the official announcement of NBA 2K27 dropping September 4 with early access kicking off August 28. The headline here is the star power gracing the covers featuring San Antonio's towering phenomenon Victor Wembanyama on the standard edition, triple-double machine Caitlin Clark on the deluxe, and fan favorite legend Derrick Rose repping the ultra tier. On court, the gameplay relies heavily on their upgraded Pro Play technology, translating real-world NBA fluid movement directly into pixelated ankle breakers, contested jumpers, and realistic defensive contests. Beyond the technical side, you're getting the usual massive slate of game modes that drain hundreds of hours out of your schedule. My Career brings a brand new storyline centered around taking an unproven rookie from hometown hero to absolute Hall of Famer, while the city returns as a bustling online hub where you can join a custom crew, flex your street style, and run pickup games at local courts. Meanwhile, My Team expands its card-collecting roster by letting you blend current superstars with WNBA icons to assemble a stacked dream squad. While buying virtual clothes for your My Player will probably still eat a chunk of your wallet, the sheer volume of modes, improved animations, and star-studded roster choices makes this annual basketball simulation look exceptionally promising for gamers who love deep sports action. Metroidvanias come and go every single week, but every so often, one pops up with an action gameplay so stupidly clean it immediately steals your full attention. Enter Akatori, a striking 2.5D action platformer starring a young monk named Mako and her mystical staff that happens to house a sealed, power-hungry red bird. Instead of just giving you a standard light and heavy attack combo, Contrast Games built the entire movement and combat ecosystem directly around this staff. You're tossing it in midair, vaulting off walls, sliding under hazards, and recalling the staff like a boomeranging death stick mid-combo to keep air juggles going. That kinetic flow extends into the world design itself, where enemies do not just stand around waiting for you to smack them, they actually pick fights with each other, trigger environmental traps, and react dynamically to hazards scattered across living myth-inspired biomes. Throw in some bizarre boss encounters that range from high-stakes underwater escapes to rhythm-based survival challenges, and the moment-to-moment combat feels like a kung fu movie running on full hyperdrive. This is shaping up to be an absolute brawl for your free time. Getting your hands on this staff-slinging adventure looks like an instant download for anyone who loves tight, momentum-driven action platforming, deep world design, and gorgeous pixel art aesthetics that genuinely pop off the screen. Classic turn-based role-playing games have been experiencing a massive renaissance lately, and fans of retro pixel art adventures are getting another sprawling journey to sink their teeth into later this fall. The overarching story centers on a young heroine named Erica, whose peaceful life gets completely shattered when a mysterious stranger arrives with grim news about an impending cataclysm known as the Dark Foray. To prevent the complete destruction of her beloved homeland, Erica must travel across distant, dangerous lands to track down and recruit the remaining descendants of the elemental clans. Combat follows a tactical turn-based battle system where elemental synergies, smart party positioning, and clever skill rotations dictate whether you survive against terrifying monstrosities. What makes the narrative dynamic especially engaging is that your party members, including close companions like Leah, Malene, and Karen, do not just offer raw muscle in battle, as they also face deep personal fears and psychological hurdles throughout the campaign. Alongside the central quest, you will encounter a wide array of quirky oddball characters offering optional side missions, selfish requests, or bizarre perspectives that can actively steer the storyline in fresh direction. By gathering powerful gear and mastering unique elemental abilities, you can tailor your squad to overcome almost any tactical challenge. With its charming retro sprite visuals, strategic combat depth, and a fantasy narrative built around unity, this indie RPG looks ready to deliver pure old-school charm when it arrived.
では、まず強化したいキャラクターを1体選びます。
Bandai Namco is dropping a massive content wave for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero on July 30th, and producer Furutani just pulled back the curtain on what might be the coolest additions yet. Headlining the paid super limit-breaking Neo DLC is a brand new single-player roguelite mode called Limit Breaker Journey, where you pick any fighter you want and build them into a personal powerhouse. The twist here lies in a high-stakes stamina system. Traveling across the map drains your stamina. You start battles with heavily depleted health bars, but fighting through that brutal disadvantage rewards you with huge chunks of extra experience to dump into 6 distinct character stats. Combine that roguelite progression mechanic with 33 new playable characters ranging from classic World Tournament Goku and Ma Jr. to Z-Sword Gohan, plus 4 new episode battles, and you have enough fan service to drown a Saiyan. Even if you do not plan on dropping extra cash, the free update, dropping the exact same day, is retooling the battle meta with 2 aggressive mechanics: Sparking Boost, which burns through your skill stock for a desperate spike in attack power that leaves you fatigued afterward, and Chain Blast, which lets you tag in a bench teammate mid-combo to blast your opponent into next week. Overall, this feels less like a basic character pack and more like a total game changer for anyone obsessed with creating dramatic anime showdowns. Anyone keeping an eye on indie Metroidvanias over the past year probably remembers Constance, a gorgeous hand-drawn 2D platformer that treats artistic burnout like a full-blown combat sport. The developer is bringing this emotional journey to Switch 2 on July 30, complete with a free upgrade for anyone who already owns the original version. You play as a struggling artist trapped inside her own fractured psyche, exploring 6 distinctly themed biomes where every enemy and puzzle mirrors a different personal failure or creative mental block. What makes the gameplay click so ridiculously well is its fluid paint transformation mechanic. Instead of just double jumping or wall sliding like every other protagonist, Constance can literally melt into a pool of liquid paint to submerge straight through walls, dash through midair, and execute devastating brush techniques that keep you moving in a state of pure platforming flow. The upcoming release bumps performance up to a silky smooth 120 frames per second, alongside a crisp 1440p quality mode, enhanced audio design, and native achievement support. Having a studio hand existing players a massive performance overhaul at 0 extra charge is always a class act. And whether you're diving back in for a speedrun or picking up your paintbrush for the very first time, this slick aesthetic adventure remains one of the most clever genre twists around, blending fast-paced combat with a deeply personal story that actually respects your time. Horror games usually rely on giving you heavy shotguns or making you hide inside dirty lockers, but SOMBRAS Negative Frames is taking a far more unsettling psychological route when it arrives on December 3. Developed by Mabaroshi Artworks, the studio behind the critically acclaimed Last Time I Saw You, this first-person light horror adventure stars Shiomi Alterio, a Japanese-Spanish photography student trying to navigate life after her parents' bitter divorce, only to get dragged into a dark mirror dimension of her 2000s Japanese town. Instead of bashing monsters with steel pipes, your main tool for survival is an authentic photography camera system. You navigate eerie liminal streets, capture photographs of bizarre paranormal anomalies, develop your film rolls, and use the creative inspiration gained to upgrade your camera gear. Along the way, you escape hungry shadow beasts, collect strange occult trinkets, and confront uncanny alternate versions of yourself that embody repressed trauma from a dysfunctional family system. It brilliantly combines nostalgic Y2K vibes with deep emotional dread, forcing you to stare directly through the viewfinder at things you would normally run away from. The haunting atmosphere looks thick enough to cut with a blade, and for anyone exhausted by generic horror tropes, taking pictures of terrifying inner demons in a twisted ghost town makes this a top contender for gamers who prefer slow-burn psychological creepiness over cheap, mindless jump scares that stopped being effective a decade ago. Building a theme park sounds easy enough until your prime attraction breaks through a wooden fence and begins terrifying tourists near the overpriced souvenir stand that Chaotic Management Energy returns on August 5th with Parkasaurus Dinoluxe edition. Bundling together the original Dinosaur Tycoon simulator along with both major expansions, sea monsters, and prehistoric wonders. Washbear Studios tossing a grand total of 44 distinct creature breeds into this collection, letting players hatch everything from woolly mammoths and giant capybaras to massive aquatic predators like the Mosasaurus. Designing proper habitats requires real brain power since each animal demands specific biomes with tuned elevation, humidity, and native plant life to keep their morale high. However, the absolute highlight of this entire experience triggers when your containment measures inevitably collapse. When a stress meter spikes and a raptor snaps its enclosure gate, the game lets you drop straight into a first-person perspective, grabbing a tranquilizer gun to personally hunt down rogue lizards before your park reviews plummet into the gutter. Managing ticket prices, hiring scientists, balancing operational budgets, and resolving aquatic physics disasters gives this colorful sim a surprisingly deep strategic gameplay. Packaged with 12 biomes and 15 scenario missions, it seamlessly blends bright visuals with genuine tycoon depth, proving that running a prehistoric zoo is equal parts financial spreadsheet management and frantic emergency crowd control. Whether you construct an underwater exhibit or chase a wild T-Rex, this package delivers hours of chaotic sandbox fun. Managing a fictional medical center sounds like a noble profession until a guy walks into your waiting room with a literal glowing light bulb for a head. That absurd administrative challenge returns in its ultimate form on September 16th with 2 Point Hospital Full Health Collection, followed by physical copies landing on November 6th. Developer 2 Point Studios and publisher Sega are stuffing every piece of downloadable content ever created into this package, bundling major expansions like Culture Shock, A Stitch in Time, Close Encounters, and Off the Grid alongside quirky bonus packs containing golden toilets and zombie costumes. The core gameplay tasking you with building healthcare empires from complete scratch remains as addictive as ever, requiring you to construct reception desks, diagnostic wards, pharmacies, and high-tech treatment rooms. You are constantly managing moody doctors, burnout-prone nurses, and janitors who refuse to sweep up trash unless their break room is fully stocked with arcade cabinets. What keeps this management sim so endlessly funny is the bizarre nature of the ailments forcing you to solve time travel paradoxes, deal with supernatural hauntings, and physically unscrew light bulbs off sick patients. Earning 3-star ratings across various regions requires a hilarious balancing act between financial efficiency, staff morale, and patient survival rates. Packing every single expansion into one mega collection makes this comedic healthcare sim an easy recommendation for strategy fans who prefer absurd comedy over dry medical realism. Punishing action combat and labyrinthine world design are practically a rite of passage for hardcore gamers, and the dark fantasy Souls-like indie Fountains is expanding its reach sometime in 2026 alongside a massive brand new DLC expansion. Developed by John Pywell and published by Crunching Koalas, this title puts you in the boots of an unlucky hooded prisoner escaping a tyrannical regime to track down the mythical Fountain of Youth. You're tasked with slaying immortal warlords known as the Ageless, navigating a seamless Metroidvania world that twists and loops back on itself with hidden shortcuts, dark secrets, and powerful traversal upgrades. Combat demands tight reflexes, rewarding precise dodges, tactical positioning, and relentless parries, though it thoughtfully includes adjustable difficulty settings so you can customize the challenge to your preferred comfort level. The coolest social feature by far is the integrated online message system, allowing players to leave floor notes that either save your life by warning you of upcoming ambushes or maliciously trick you into stepping off a cliff for fake treasure. Combined with the upcoming content drop, this atmospheric adventure offers a high-stakes exploration fix where every dark corner holds either incredible loot or a quick ticket back to your previous checkpoint. Whether you're deciphering community notes, mastering tricky dodge timings, or discovering forgotten ruins deep inside the dungeon, this interconnected fantasy trip rewards patience and curiosity while thoroughly punishing reckless button mashing at every opportunity.
Awakens, called to life by a single blue butterfly.
Every now and then a cozy indie adventure pops up that manages to blend quiet environmental storytelling with an unexpectedly emotional core, which looks to be the exact formula here. Taking on the role of a reawakened stone golem wandering through a lush and mysterious world, you team up with a surprisingly charming fox companion to repair a fractured ecosystem. Together, you're exploring the crumbling ruins of a lost civilization, solving clever environmental puzzles, and reconnecting ancient energy sources to bring life back to the land. What makes the mechanics stand out is how deeply tied your character's internal emotional state is to the surrounding world. As you progress and heal the realm, colorful flowers literally begin blooming across the golem's back, while weather patterns and local flora shift dynamically around you in real time. Rather than relying on stressful combat or frantic timers, the gameplay focus stays squarely on atmospheric discovery, backed by a sweeping orchestral soundtrack that leans heavily into themes of loss, unexpected friendship, and personal purpose. You will spend your time befriending local wildlife ranging from playful squirrels and peacocks all the way to meerkats and massive elephants, while learning how to use your stone abilities to shape the environment and unearth hidden secrets. Anyone looking for a thoughtful and gentle journey to sink into later this fall should definitely keep this heartwarming woodland adventure on their radar. Nippon Ichi Software is taking their chaotic mascot, the iconic Prinny, and throwing them headfirst into a brand new 4-player party game that seems specifically engineered to ruin long-standing friendships. Launching on November 12th in Asian territories with a Western release planned as well, this hybrid title mixes traditional board game navigation with tactical command-based RPG mechanics set in a wild fantasy underworld. You and 3 rivals move across a giant board, accumulating valuable experience points, buying powerful gear, and building helpful facilities like hospitals and armories while completing quests along the way. When a giant boss like the Supreme Overboard spawns, everyone has to temporarily work together to drain its massive health pool. Here's where the hilarious backstabbing comes in. Defeating the boss does not automatically win you the match, because only the player who physically picks up the boss and carries it back to the spawn point gets full credit. Naturally, this twist devolves into complete mayhem as players toss each other across board spaces, steal targets, and squabble endlessly right before reaching the finish line. You can even pass ridiculously unfair demon laws to triple your damage output, steal extra movement turns, or fire giant destructive cannons directly at your former teammates. With a playable demo already available to sample right now, this competitive board game RPG looks like absolute perfection for players who love high-stakes betrayal, absurd demonic humor, and relentless chaotic multiplayer fun.
Okay everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you liked that video, please leave a like and subscribe, and ring the bell if you want to get notified when we release new content. We hope to see you in the next video.